There we go. I hope you enjoy Epidemic Instrumental, my background music, so to speak. We are live streaming from partly cloudy Boca Raton, Florida. It's 81 degrees, 81.3 degrees. Let me look at my thermometer down here. You see that right there in the bottom corner, sort of. Yeah. The microphone is kind of in the way. Well, and it's 68.2 in my little studio here. Yeah, I got my little 60-inch by 48-inch table, and I put a piece of blue tape all the way down halfway. Marilyn gets that half, and Jimmy gets this half. And then I put together some of my old iPads. You know, you pay some of these iPads with, extra memory cost, $2,000. Imagine? $2,000. That's a lot of money. And then when you want to turn it in, trade up in a couple of years to stay on top of the technology, they give you $198 for the iPad. Not going to do that. So I got an iPad here, I got an iPad here, I got an iPad here. So that's 1, 2, that's 3. I got an iPhone over here. My time over there, you see, no, can't see that either. And the microphone is right smack in the way. Well, that's okay. I can see it. It's Wednesday morning. It's 9:18 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, EDT, I believe. I checked the weather, which we can check on our trusty iPad right here. We'll go over here. My Radar Pro. And let's see what's going on in the atmosphere. We'll just do a little expando. And while it's loading up all the images, this is reading right off the satellite. It's like nuts. You can see the wind. You see the wind, the arrows. Let's do producers. Do a full screen on that, will you? There you go. Remember, this is a Simulcast from. Yep. You look at the little text up on the top there. Have a conversation. You can text me at 561-416-1100 if you're afraid of being on air. I have my iPhone Bluetooth synced to my soundboard over here. So yep. So if someone calls, and occasionally someone does call, I can answer the call. I can hear it through my headphones, and I can speak through the microphone, and it goes right through the phone. No echo. It comes around through here, and it zips in here, and you can hear it also. So when people call in, they end up coming on to onto my little chat, whatever we're going to chat about. All right, well, we checked the radar. Nothing going on there. I'll tell you what, Trump is really, he's a, politicians, have to be performers. There you go. I have one of those. It's on my wrist. It's an Apple Watch Ultra. This is an expando view of it with all the icons that you can put on there if you want to. I have a nice watch face here. Let's turn that off. There we go. So I can see, all kinds of things on this. I can see the date. I can see the time. I can see that my car battery is 67% full. Can you imagine? It links right into the car. We are 30 meters, or 93 feet above sea level up here on the 8th floor of Royal Palm Plaza. If you go straight down, I'd be sitting in the bar. Chops. So we are directly above Chops, separated by 6 floors of concrete, floors that are, 12 inches thick. Yeah, a lot of concrete, a lot of reinforcing iron and all that. Well, we got 13 days, and it's election night. I tell you, it's a scary time when you watch that over the television. And you got to stay tuned until about midnight, unless someone breaks out and everyone just says, screw it, I'm voting for whoever. You have 2 choices. You can either, I have right here a picture, oops, there he is, there's a French fry guy. Oh, Lordy. I saw that a couple of days ago. He took it very seriously. He's very polite. Took his jacket off. He had his tie and his cufflinks, his red tie and his white shirt, which he must have a closet full of white shirts and red ties. A couple of 3 suits in there, 5 suits, 10 suits. Takes them off. It's not a dark blue, but it is a blue. So when you see him, it's red, white, and blue. Absolutely. He is very proud of red, white, and blue. And, when you're dealing with the military, and because you're commander-in-chief. That's a special kind of a thing. Commander-in-chief. You're also, in charge of a bunch of things regarding the economy. And, with an executive order, he can shut the border down. Meaning shut the border, like close the door. Close all the doors. Put a bunch of National Guard. Give them armed weapons. Forget shooting rubber bullets. Shoot real bullets. And if they start to overtake you, shoot for the feet. And they'll get the message to get the you-know-what out of here. Come in the right way. Go to your embassy. Yeah. U.S. has embassies all over the planet. Go to your own embassy and make your desires known to them. And then that starts the paperwork. But you're not stepping foot on U.S. soil. No. You can't do that. Let's see. How are we doing with the sound here? Yeah, let's turn that down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a little better. We're competing with that epidemic. Hope that's, I can hear it in the headphones, and it's a little louder in the headphones than you'll hear it as background. But, when you're streaming, we are streaming. This is a Simulcast. Simulcast, but it's three things. So let's call it a Simulcast instead of a simulcast, because it's going over YouTube Live. My handle is the @FAU, like Florida Atlantic University. FAU for you. Use the number 4. FAU 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. U. U, the letter U. FAU for you. 5 characters. 1 number. The @ if you notice on the ticker tape, here it comes. So you see the ticker tape, and you see the lightning bolt up on top there, and then you see Jimmy with glasses on, and then another lightning bolt. So if you have those kind of special characters, well, you can just type Jim Wilson's live simulcast, because and it'll find every broadcast I've done over the last few years, 4 or 5, whatever. I've got everything working. There's a lot of wires. You look through in here and you look over here. There's wires everywhere. I got them all covered up with black napkins. So when you look over here, everything's, I used, what do you call it? Gaffer's tape, the black tape that they use in the movie industry to cover up whatever they want to cover up. Yeah, gaffer's tape. I have a little skinny roll, I got a white roll, I got a black roll. And you can see right over here I went through my cabinet. I got a new Series 10 watch, supposed to come today. And my watch is talking to me. Yeah. Apple Watch Series 10. Whoa. Siri works right through the watch. Okay. No. Anyway, so these are 2 watches. I put them back in their little, some kind of hardened paper. There you go. It's all cleaned up. And I gotta put it right in there. And I have a couple of boxes over there. Put them back in the boxes that they were shipped in, because I went to a company, in case any of you have old Apple devices, you generally turn in your phone and you get another one, and they give you some kind of a rebate, at least AT&T does. I have an AT&T account. They're very good. Now they give me, and the word give is it's a 4-letter word. I hate to use the word give, because that's a little misleading, because they don't give anything. There's always something attached to it, like a price. But they make nice deals. They're fair deals, let's put it that way. So every year, Marilyn and I can turn in our iPhones and get a new one. You pay $5. So anyway, the price of the phone, let's say it's $1,600. So you divide $1,600 by 36, you get $50 a month. You pay the tax on the whole thing up front, which is like $80. And then you pay $50. You pay whatever the price of the phone is, divide by 36. There's no interest. So, why lay out $1,600? Or, some other kind of deal. Just pay 1/36th of it every month for 36 months. In 18 months, if you want to upgrade to the iPhone 17, that's probably what we're going to do. I think we're going to stretch our renewal time to like 18 months. So instead of getting the new one, like in September, this year it was like September, 10th or whatever. You order it one day, and then 1 week later they ship it. And I always want the latest and the greatest right away. So I don't know. I think the iPhone 16 is just it is spectacular, and now the operating system iOS 18 is going to have. I gotta turn that down a little bit. It's making me crazy. The reason why I have I'll come back to that. The reason why I have the background music there is because we are streaming. It's like rain. It's streaming down. Except we're streaming out to 3 different networks. Facebook Live, the @, FAU4U. Also, we're going YouTube Live. My handle there, FAU4U on YouTube. Okay, now Twitter, they locked up my account because I did something wrong. I wrote them a letter. No one tells me what I did wrong. So on Twitter, I don't have FAU4U because they locked it up. And I can't unlock it. So I had to create a new thing. So, on the dial pad, this is my brick, so it goes 1, and then it goes 2, and then it holds ABC. And then 3, DEF, and so forth. So 5596 is JLWM. So if you're wondering why I have 5596, that's JLWM, M for Maryland. JLW is my 3 letters for my name, James Lawrence Wilson. Yes, it is. L for Lawrence. So my handle for Twitter, because they locked up my FAU4U, which is really neat, I like it, is JIM with a capital J, JIMW with a capital W. The IM is not capital. JIM5596. That's my handle on Twitter. So if you like to tweet, this is the one that Elon Musk bought Twitter and got rid of all the. There were like 10 embedded Department of Justice employees working to silence the conservative points of view. And they were using, some kind of rules, they just, if something came along that, well, that's freedom of speech. And the government was getting, and then they communicating back and forth, and they had meetings, and they're basically, it's a big scam. It was a big, not freedom of speech. It's supposed to be an open forum where anyone can say whatever the hell they want, and sometimes that can be ugly. Well, don't read it. Yeah, and if you don't like it, it's like Marilyn says, she slaps her. She said, if you don't like it, don't look at it. It's very simple. Well, anyway, it's got to be a big deal. So, all right, we'll set that there. I'm just setting the the intensity of this screen. There we go. There's the new Apple Watch Series 10. Look how nice. I mean, and this polish. Now, this is like squared off. This is like, nuts and bolts. With the titanium screen. There you can see it's got all kinds of. Now it's asking me for my passcode, so I took it off. Yep, this is. All right, so we got the Simulcast. You heard the what do you call it now? So I'm getting a Series 10, supposedly today. Like sometime between 1 and 5 o'clock. I think I saw. So I went to. This is a company in Tampa, and it makes it very convenient if you want to, upgrade Apple devices. So the URL, you ever heard of that? URL, what's the URL? Most people are going to say, I don't know. I don't know what the hell a URL is, Is that where you put the oil and the gasoline? No. The URL is, www.macmeanoffer. That's the name of the company. MACME an offer. And if you type in that, let's see if I can do that. www.macmeoffer.com. Enter. Mac me an offer. There it is. Mac me an offer. Yeah. Let's do it on here so you can see it on the screen. So we're just going to pull down here, and then I get a keyboard. I'm going to say M-A-C, Mac, like Macintosh, Mac, me, and OFFER.com. I'm typing with one finger here. And then we hit the return thing. Now you can see the miracles of live TV. Bingo, there it is. Your Apple product gets started. So you can buy or you can sell. I mean, they have all kinds of things you can, do here. Now this is if you're going to sell something. Now there's we're going to sell a device. Instead of buying a device, we're going to sell a device. So let's do Apple Watch. And which one are you going to sell us? The titanium Series 9. Where's the Ultra? You got. So I have to lean over here and. Let's do price descending. So we're going to sell them a watch. There it is. Ultra 2. There you go. Please fill in details. Is it flawless? Yes. Does the device, have any, no. No cosmetic damages. Will you include original? Okay, I guess yes. Will you include original Apple Watch Ultra band? Yes. Does your product have any extraordinary upgrades? Let's just say yes. I agree. Continue. And then you put the serial number in there and your name and they come up with then they send you an email and they give you an offer. And it's like free, I've already done this because now all I have to do is send it in. They've already sent me an email, and then you click on the email, and it says if you like the offer, then we're going to send you a label, a UPS label. It's prepaid, so you don't have to pay anything. And you send it to them. And if the item that you sent corresponds to all the Q&A that you put in there, like it's flawless and it's super duper, and yeah, my watch is over here on the charging thing. Right over here, I got a little charging thing. Ooh, yeah. There it is. I'm touching it. See? It's 50% charged, so while I'm yakking away here, we'll charge that baby up. When my new watch comes, I'm going to view very carefully how it's packaged, because I have the boxes over here, and I'm going to package it exactly the way the new one is, so that, when they get it, it's going to look like it came from Apple. It's going to look perfect. I just sold a Mac. It was a MacBook Pro, with an M3 chip and 24 gigabytes of unified memory, they call it, and 1 terabyte of solid state storage. No more disk drives. It's all solid state. Bits and bytes with a bunch of transistors. Billions of them with a B. A-B. Billions. Not trillions. It's billions. But it's like 40 or 50 billion bits and bytes. Anyway, so it's got 1 tetrabyte. What's a tetrabyte? And they just put a T on there. It's a tetrabyte. A tetrabyte is 1,024 gigabytes. All right. 1024. Yeah. Gigabytes. 1024 gigabytes is a tetrabyte. And then you have a gazuma byte, and I don't know what comes after tetrabyte. It would be like 1,000 tetrabytes would then be. I guess we could ask Alexa, what is 1,000 tetrabytes? What's that called?
From wings.com. In binary terms, it is comparable to 1,024 GBs. By the way, you have a new notification. Do you want to hear it?
Okay.
One new notification. From Alexa News. From Fox, more than 19 million Americans have already voted. Do you want to hear more about this?
No. All right. Alexa just told us that according to the wire service, I love this Alexa thing. In this little room, I call it Alexa. In the living room, I have one, these little things with the time on it, a round globe. It costs $49. So you can see the time, which basically just takes the time off the net. The internet is required to keep time. And it's all synced with the National Bureau of Standards with the atomic clock. There is an official clock located, somewhere in Utah, something like that. Oh boy. And it tick tock, tick tock. It keeps track of the time. Everybody has that. This is 9:45 a.m. You can see it right there. And there's another clock right over there, 9:45 a.m. in 30 seconds, 40 seconds, whatever. Yeah. All these devices are connected to my network, which is my network is called. I live at Royal Palm Place, so RPP, Royal Palm Place, 801. That's our network. Yep. Now we moved from 801 to 812. But I didn't change the name of the network. Hell with it. I mean, I can do it, and then you put a new name in the modem, and or the router. No, I don't bother with that. So I go to settings here, and we're going to go to oh, there it is. Wi-Fi. RPP-801. There, you can see it right on your screen. I'm moving it up and down. RPP-801. Yep. It's and it's connected through a virtual private network. You see over here in the middle of your screen, I'm shaking it. You see what that green button is? VPN. Yeah. It's a ghost services. It's like, everything's how much a month. It's like $10 a month, $7 a month, something. And my network goes through the virtual private network. VPN. Virtual Private Network. VPN. It's on. And it is basically making our connections. It goes through their server. So that if you go on the internet and look at a site, it goes through the VPN. And it traps the, because a lot of these companies that are trying to keep track of you or hack you, they go through, they can go through your internet connection. Well, with a VPN, it protects you. It's like putting, you ever hear of galoshes? I mean, we're going back in history. Galoshes, they're the rubber things you put over your shoes, so when you're walking in the rain, you don't louse up your nice leather shoes with rain or snow or whatever. They're like thin rubber. It's like a rubber glove that you put over your shoe. So, and it's shaped like a shoe. They call them galoshes. At least that's what my family called them. You have your galoshes. You put your galoshes on. That's for grown-ups. So grown-ups wear galoshes. When you're a kid, you put on your boots, whatever, and you run in the snow and the rain, and you come in and, Mama dries them off with a towel, and they're made out of a material that is basically water proof or water resistant, whatever. 19 million people have already voted. Now, in an active presidential election year, like 2020 or 2016, right? Where we elected Trump, the Trumper. So, people don't realize this. They think I came from Ohio. I did not come from Ohio. My mother happened to be a linguist, a language person. She spoke 5 languages. She was fluent in Latin. Who the hell's, other than the Pope, who the hell is fluent in Latin? Well, in the Vatican, everyone does Latin. Latin used to be the international language, 100 years ago. It went from Latin to French. Sorry. My mouth isn't working yet. It works very well after 11, but, between 9:30 and 11, the mouth is just warming up. Anyway, so French was also the international language. In the early, late 1800s, early 1900s, France French was the international language, based in Europe and, all that business. And then, I guess after World War I, right in that period in the early 1900s, the English language became the international language. So when you have, all these agents all over the world representing, 180 countries. I'm not too sure the exact count. Maybe it's 183 or, it's not 200. And I think it's slightly over 180. When they come to the United Nations, the headquarters of the United Nations is Manhattan. It's a big rectangular building, all glass, and there are a bunch of flags out front representing the countries. All right, who's walking? Yeah. Oh, boy. A former Abercrombie CEO has been arrested for something. Hey. He must have done something bad. Something having to do with fraud. Fraud is that's when you promise one thing and you deliver something else. Intentionally. Tricking the public. Or tricking a person. All right, let's get out of this thing here. I was just showing you the name on my network. Let's see, what do I have here? What's coming up on Amazon.com? You can see. I'm showing you my personal account. Here we go. My orders. There we go. Oh, come on. I know. No, that ain't it. Face ID. That ain't gonna work. Cancel that. Try again. I'm bending my face over time. There we go. It's crap. It's not B, it's A. I'll be with you in a minute. I'm just going to show you my Amazon account, but I have to sign in. There we go. There we go. No. Let's try that. Oh, now they're going to send me a verification code. Oh, Lordy, it never ends. I approve it. Yeah. It says someone's trying to get into your account. Yeah, it's Jimmy. There we go. I just said approved from my phone. Oh, Lord. They're trying to protect me. That's okay. I don't complain. They're trying to make sure. So it just sent me a signal to my phone, which is right over here. I'm using it as you see, it's a stopwatch. I've been on the air 40 minutes and 15 seconds. Yep. Signed on at 9:15 exactly. Some people come in at 9:30, and my broadcast would already have begun. It's a live broadcast. You can play it back, and you can listen not live, or you can listen live. So I've decided 9:15 for the moment is going to be. Marilyn told me, she said, if you're going to do this, you have to pick a time, and then you have to stick to that time. All right. Well, we're going to do 9:15 for a while. On, there's a lot of stuff you got to set up, and I have to do it myself. It's like a little studio here. I mean, we got video cameras up here. I got a microphone over there. I got this boom microphone over here. I got like 3 or 4 iPads I got to activate, and I got to. I had a little audio problem. I couldn't get my soundboard coming into the system properly. So I finally worked that out. I had to restart the computer, actually. I must have had Ecamm, E-C-A-M-M, Ecamm Live, ECAMMLIVE.com. They provide a software package which is spectacular. And of course, they charge me, $30 a month, something like that, $29.95. And it allows me to Simulcast, or Simulcast, or just Singlecast. I like the idea of Simulcast. It throws out a live signal to YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Twitter Live. You can see it right up on top with that ticker tape thing. @ FAU for you. Facebook Live, @FAU for you. And Twitter is different because they locked up my @JimW5596. What a goofy. I don't like that. I did it quick, and I'm going to do it again. Because that's, I should do like FAU for you too. Yeah, just add a 2 to the end of it and try that one. I think I'll look into that. But right now it's Jim W5596. Hey, what are you gonna do? Anyway, so here's my my real. What do you call this? Amazon account. And I purchased Amish Country Popcorn Ballpark Butter Salt Popcorn Mix. It's in this thing. And the Amish put it together. I found it, and it's really, you just lightly dust your popcorn with this salt. And has a buttery flavor to the salt. And boy, that popcorn really, or you can mix it in your popcorn salt. Just mix it in there and then mix it around. So it has just a faint, oh God. So the prosecutors, the Department of Justice is saying that the former Abercrombie and Fitch CEO was fooling around with the models, model. Oh my God. And sex trafficking. God. Oh Lord. So he's in a world of hurt. So if they don't put him in jail, they'll break him. Because, you have the U.S. government chasing you. You have to have those $2,000 an hour attorneys, and you probably need several of them. So when you sit in a conference room with, let's just say they're $1,000 an hour guys and girls, and you can write that down. It's at least $1,000 an hour. So you're sitting in a conference room, and you got 3 of those suckers sitting in with you, because they don't want to miss anything, right? So they have each of them turn their meters on. So that's $3,000 an hour and they're saying, "Oh, how are you? How's the weather?" Screw you! I don't want to talk about the weather at $1,000 an hour. Let's get down to business. Don't start your meters yet. If you want to talk about the weather, you turn off your meter. And I got my watch on here, and it's 10 o'clock. And if you want to have 10 minutes worth of small talk, I'm not paying $3,000 an hour to talk about the weather. I mean, so that's, that's, I mean, so the U.S. government just busts your chops. You got to have these attorneys or you're going to jail. And if you don't defend yourself properly, you're going to jail. So you have to have all these attorneys work on your case and because they want to protect you and keep you from going to jail and defend you in case it goes to a court, and oh my God. So you have to pay for these attorneys. And if you stop paying them, then they don't represent you. And when these attorneys in Washington, in the Department of Justice, send letters, send me this and send me that, and, discovery and crap. It goes on and on. So if you don't go to jail, you'll be broke because they'll grind you to a pulp. You just be one soggy sponge by the time the DOJ gets done with you. So if you're hanky-panking, you're doing things you shouldn't do, taking advantage of, bright, young, beautiful women, patting them on the butt when you're not supposed to. I mean, it's a real problem. I remember, now look, I've been married for 44 years. Can you imagine? Marilyn and I have been in the same place for 44 years. That's a long time. She's she's a star. I'm, not such a bright star. She's been, oh, wow. Ooh. She walks in the room and everyone's looking, what TV show is she on? Yeah. And who's that schmuck she's holding hands with? Well, I be the schmuck. Oh, Lord, yeah. Oh, God. 44 years ago. I mean, I'm 34 and she's 27. Can you imagine? 27. She weighed 120 pounds. She's 5'9". So she was tall, thin. She was like a pencil with breasts. Being crazy. But anyway, yeah, she was a head turner, that's for sure. And I was working with a partner who defrauded me. So I had to get rid of him and get my money back. Anyway, his wife, Betty Crenshaw, she was a head turner. She was like a blonde, and Marilyn was a brunette. Hair dark brown, right to the root. Never colored it. She used to go to the Mr. John's or Mr. something hairdresser. I said, Marilyn, I can cut your hair. She said, oh, no, you will. Yeah, I mean, she's like vanity is like, these good-looking women, they don't want anybody messing around with their looks. And so I said, if you don't mind, now we're dating, I don't think we're married yet. And we're like connected big time, oh my God. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner together. So you do that and you live in separate places, and then it won't say, well, why don't you bring your stuff and we'll live here and we'll live there. So we moved like 2 or 3 different times, trying to figure out where we were going to live together. Yeah. Whew. That was 1980. It was very busy in 1980 doing stuff. Oh, God. Anyway, so she goes to Mr. John's in Miami to get her hair done. In some strip center somewhere. So we drove together. I dropped her off at the front door at Mr. John's. I parked the car and I said, I'll come in. And when you go back to wherever the hell because you sit in the front and wait your turn. And then when it's your turn for your appointment, then you go back to, Mr. Phillip or whoever the hell actually cuts your hair. Mr. John, he owns the place. So he either does it or someone else, So she said, yeah, it's kind of, I have a usual person, and his name is whatever, Philip or something. I said, if you don't mind, I'll sit in the guest chair. There's probably a guest chair near your big chair that you get on. And then you put your head back and they wash your hair, right? Yeah, well. And then they start combing your hair, and then they cut the hair the way they shape it, the way you want it done. And since you got your hair done there, 6 weeks ago, they're going to cut off about, 3/4 of an inch all the way around. Top, bottom, this side, that side. Because when they shaped it 6 weeks ago, you're going to retain the same shape, right? You're not going to change your look, so to speak. She said, that's right. I said, well, I'll watch. I'll just watch very carefully. We're not going to tell him. I'm just your bodyguard. But I'm going to watch what he's doing. And then in 6 weeks, I'll cut your hair instead of them. And I promise I'll do a very good job. And I'll only take 3/4 of an inch off. So, how big a mistake can it be? So you can always go back to Mr. John and have it reshaped after I louse it up. I won't louse it up. I know how to do this. So she said, okay. So 6 weeks later, so she washed her hair and this and that. And, so now she sits in the dining room chair. And Jimmy, starts to, gets the scissor going and got the comb and we cut off 3/4 of an inch. It's not that hard to do. The honest to God truth is cutting men's hair is much more difficult than cutting women's hairs. Yep. Because, she's got a big head of hair. The hair's down almost to her shoulders at that time, And you cut it around, and then you, up around the bangs where your eyes are, you cut around there and around the ear. And don't cut too close to the ear, because number one, you don't want to make her bleed. But, the way the hair rests around the ears, that's a little tricky part there. So you make sure you don't cut it too short. Because you want it to fold around the ear, and you don't want to make it look like, I'm looking at Kamala right now up in the screen up here, and she has a terrible haircut. Yeah, really. I mean, she probably pays $500 and the haircut looks terrible. But anyway, I've cut hair. I got 4 kids, and a wife. So I've cut all their hairs until they, got to 18, 19, 20, somewhere around in there. And they're starting to, live in their own place. And they just go to their own place and get a haircut. Yeah, so, and they pay their $20-$30, whatever it is. And they get their hair done, with a professional. No more daddy haircuts. I did a very good job, and the kids will admit that. But now they're grown-ups and they want to get their own haircut. Which is fine. So I'm not out of the hair cutting business because I'm still cutting. I just gave Marilyn a little trim. And I can trim her hair every couple of weeks and keep it looking really good. Because she doesn't have to pay me $150. She don't have to pay me anything. I just do a good job. And since it's in the family and I'm not, getting a fee for it, I'm not violating any state laws. Because, when you cut hair, do cosmetic stuff, you have to have a license, a beautician's license. You got to go to beautician school, and then you have to take a test. And oh my God! So I don't want to be a beautician. But when you have kids and you cut all their hair, you add that up, if haircuts are $10 or $20 a piece, multiply that by, 15 years times 4. That's 60 years worth of cutting hair. Multiply 60 by, 12 once a month or whatever, or multiplied by 10. Oh my God. I mean, it's tens of thousands of dollars that you'd be paying out, just to cut hair. So I do it as dad. Dad will do it, and that's how we keep. Oh, there's Kamala again. Look at her. I mean, her hair is terrible. Crap. Phew. Anyway, as a hair cutter person, I don't want to use the word beautician because it makes me sound like I'm gay or something. I'm not. 4 kids and a wife. Heterosexual male. Yeah. Hey, yuck. But all the hair, most of the hair people, they're all, white and loafers. I think it's what they say. When I was, like 15 or 16, you say, oh, you need a little light in the loafers. They kind of float around. I mean, it's amazing, when a person is naturally gay, you just watch them walk. When they pass you by on the street or whatever, and you just watch the way their hips go and all this. You can everything. A real gay person is, I'm talking about a male that's gay. You can see their mannerisms and everything. It's a genetic thing. It's not. It's not fake. It's a real. It's a real way of, the biology, way of life. Most people aren't gay, and you have, like I don't know what the percentage is. Let's just say it's less than 1%. It's not 10%, and it's not 50%. It's some low percentage. And out of the 300 million people in our country, how many are gay? I don't know. But it is a lifestyle. It is a genetic thing. They're real people. They deserve respect. And we shouldn't be putting people in boxes. This person is this and that person is that. I mean, that's not right. It's not fair. It's not. It's dividing. You don't want to divide people into, and put people in boxes. Yeah, that's not a good thing. So treat everybody with dignity and respect. That's what's needed. It's 10:15. So, yeah, there you go. See, my stopwatch says 59 minutes and 51 seconds. Because it's I started at 9:15 exactly. So I've been on the air for an hour. I never even got to the news. And we ended up talking about Marilyn and her haircuts. So it was so tricky getting her, to get, when you got like a 4-year-old kid, it's not a problem to get. I was just looking on my list of things. See, I haven't gotten. I promised, with the last hurricane, I promised the boys I'd get them walkie-talkie radios that use a 60 preset channels. Let's track the package. See if it's shipped yet. No, that hadn't shipped yet. I ordered and they say, oh yeah, it's in stock. We'll ship tomorrow. Well, that's like a week ago. They haven't shipped them yet. So they're supposed to show up Friday or Saturday. The 27th. And then I got a message it's going to be the 26th. So anyway, that's the only serious item that's coming on the way. And then UPS has stuff coming here today. This is live radio, baby. UPS. There's the logo right there. So now we're on the UPS channel. And it's loading up. And I have a package on the way. That's October 25th. So that's a different package. I have something that's coming. Yeah, FedEx and UPS. I got all kinds of stuff coming in there. I actually have a commercial popcorn popper. Got a large screen TV. We watch movies. And, when you watch movies, you go to a theater, you have popcorn. So I've got the actual popcorn popper that they have. It's just a little smaller. It's one you would see if you were at a fair, and someone's got a trailer, or a motorhome kind of thing. And it's got, glass windows, with a counter, and it's up high, they're up high, and you're lower. So you kind of look up at them, in their motorhome thing. And there's a popcorn popper in there. And then you can see them, running the popcorn around, So, I have one of those. I bought it, like 20 years ago, I'm going to say, because I was at Security Bank. I was an officer at Security Bank, and I had it delivered to the bank. Well, the UPS is big, so I get this box that's 18 inches by 18 inches by 3 feet. And it weighs 37 pounds. Yep. And he rolls it in there with his hand truck. And now all of a sudden, Mr. Wilson, is he here? I mean, I literally had it delivered to where I was working. And I was a chief credit officer at Security Bank. And boy, what a mess that was. Jeez. Yeah, so Hal Cannell was on the board, and he knew who I was. So they hired me in to look over the portfolio. So I looked over the portfolio. Hal Cannell says, so Hal Cannell invites me down to Miami to have lunch with him. So I go, because that's where his office is, down in Coral Gables. So I went down there and met with Hal Cannell. Smart. He is a smart guy. Nice. Not very nice gentleman. I actually really liked Hal Cannell. Anyway, banking is a complicated business. Anyway, so I was very good at the loan business. I really knew how to size up a loan and, not get distracted with, because, people that borrow money, they may look one way when they're actually slightly different. So you have to be able to size up character. At least you should. I've taught a lot of banking classes, and what people make mistakes is that borrowers want money, and banks want to lend it. But the bank, is subject. It's subject to laws. You have banking regulations. It's a book that thick. It's a bunch of books that you can put on your. And I had all the books. Oh my God, it's a very complicated business. Whoops, I'm putting my watch on here. And this is a magnetic band. There we go. There we go. And now I have to put in my secret password, which is four digits. Yeah, so now I got my watch. It tells me all kinds of things. I love the Apple Watch. It's magical. Well, I'm getting rid of the Ultra 2, which is big. I'm not a mountain climber, So they've redesigned the 45 millimeter. I think that's what they call it. It's either 45 or 47 millimeter diagonal face. They made it thinner. So they've, instead of it being 10 or 11 millimeters thick, it's 9 millimeters thick. So that's 30 or 40% reduction in size, thickness. That's, so they really squeezed it down. That's one of the big benefits of the Series 10 Apple Watch. And it has its own cellular system in the watch. It connects to the Wi-Fi. So when you see the Series 10, you want to get it that's Wi-Fi capable and has its own data line number. And what happens is when you get a hold of AT&T and you tell them you just got a new Apple Watch and you want it linked to your 416-1100 phone number, you can answer the calls on your watch. And you can make calls, and it uses its own data line, but it's like synced up with your phone number that's in your Apple, in your iPhone. Now, if let's say you left the house and you left your phone on the kitchen counter and you ran off in a hurry because you're late for an appointment or whatever. So, and oh crap, I left my phone. Well, your watch is linked to everything that goes on with the iPhone, even though you're 5 miles apart, because your iPhone is on the kitchen counter and you're at a meeting 5 miles away from home, or 10 miles, or 100 miles, or you're on an airplane. So when you get out of range, which is like 100 feet from your iPhone. Usually your iPhone's in your pocket or your purse, and your watch is on your wrist, right? You look and you see what time it is. It's not very complicated, right? And your watch, and your iPhone is relatively close by, So, but if you left it home, if you have the right chipsets in your Apple Watch, which means you want it to be Wi-Fi and you want it to have its own data line number. Then the AT&T charges you $5 a month or something, and they link them up so that the data line number that's in your watch is it becomes a little bit irrelevant because it's overlaid with the phone number that's in your iPhone. Even though it has its own data line, and you can make your own phone calls from the watch, even though your phone is home, ET phone home. And if Marilyn calls me from the bank, and I'm out on the appointment, but my phone is on the kitchen counter, if she calls me, the phone is gonna it's gonna ring on my watch, and I can answer the call on my watch if I want to. And of course, it shows me the who's calling. Yeah. Anyway, the trial is started on this Daniel Penny case. If you remember, a year ago, Daniel Penny was in a. Sorry, I'm switching topics here real quick because I just saw it go across the, the Associated Press. and Daniel Penny is being prosecuted by New York because he put this crazy black guy. There's no prejudicial remark there. It's just the guy happened to be black. I mean, it could be white, it could be purple. It's, the color is irrelevant. But he was a over-drugged, threatening ladies. In a subway. You're underground. You're in a subway. You're in a subway train. And when the doors close, you're in there with whoever the hell is in there. And unfortunately, this guy happened to be in this subway train car. The doors close, train starts moving, and maybe it's a 20-minute train ride to get into the city or out of the city, or where, I don't know which direction it was going. Anyway, so they're in a train car. I'm trying to set this up quickly. And this guy is in the face and bothering everybody. He's got his hands all over everybody. And the ladies were like scared to death that they were going to get beat up or robbed. They're in a train car. The doors are closed. The lights are flickering. You know what that's like when you're in a subway train. The lights flicker, because they're electric trains. And, there's a little electrode that protrudes, under the train cars, on the third rail. You've heard that expression. You got two rails for the wheels that, but there's a third rail inside one of them. And it's rubbing against, the third rail, which you don't want to touch or else you get zapped. Yeah. You don't want to be jumping the tracks in the subway in Manhattan because they have that third rail. If you touch it, you get zapped. And you got, like 1,000 volts and you just, you look like an old hot dog. You start to sizzle, you bring your body temperature up to about 200 degrees, you're medium rare. Whew. You don't want to touch the third rail in a subway setting. They have protected and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so they're in this train car. The lights are flickering. And this guy is all over everybody. And these little old ladies that are sitting, trying to, they're sitting and they're knitting and they're trying to just not look at this guy. Because if you make eye contact, he's going to come over and rip you off, steal money, steal your jewelry. And that's what he was doing. He was threatening a lot of people that were in this train car. And there's no police anywhere. Yeah. I mean, there may have been a police guy floating around and, 5 cars up. So this one guy, this Daniel Penny, big, tall, redheaded guy, curly, redheaded hair guy. I just saw him. They're marching him into court. They're suing him for, second-degree murder because he killed this guy. But he didn't kill the guy. I saw the tapes and he explained it, and then his attorneys explained it, and then you see the videotapes, and he put him in. He got around behind this guy, and he put his arm around and had his head locked. And you can apply pressure, and that'll calm this guy down big time. And he drops down to his knees, and so he held him, for 3 or 4 minutes, and he became, docile. He became under control, and then he released him. And then he came back to, because then, the particular chokehold, you learn in the military. He was a military guy. And it's a way to subdue people, that are trying to kill you or something, or someone you're trying to catch, whatever the reason is, you got them in this hold. Not, you know, I'm a karate person. You know, no one knows that, but now everybody knows it. So, yeah. I'm a first degree black belt. Black. It's called the Dan class instead of the Q class. Ishinryu Karate. Yeah. I did it for about 6 years. And I went through, you know, the green belts and the brown belts, and I finally got a black belt. And that puts you in the Dan class, which means you can teach it. Anyway, so you learn a little jiu-jitsu. That's a form of self-defense. It's very high contact. You know, you put people. You know, it's almost like wrestling. It's a Japanese form of wrestling, or the Asian form of wrestling. You know, you flip and you flip people over, and you know, way to subdue hand-to-hand combat, so to speak. Well, I'm an Ishinryu Karate. Ishinryu Karate. I'll say it slowly. Ishinryu. It's like 3 words. Ishinryu Karate. Yeah. And it's not jujitsu. It's Ishinryu Karate. We had all kinds of katas. I call them katas, which you practice fighting 4 people simultaneously. They're front, back, left, and right. They got 4 people coming at you. And with Ishinryu Karate or Jiu-Jitsu, you can win the match with 4 people coming at you simultaneously. Yeah. And if you can't accomplish that, then you don't become a black belt. Then you stay 2nd degree brown. So you have to be able to fight off 4 people simultaneously. And I can do that. I used to be able to do that. You don't forget it. I mean, it's like riding a bicycle. You do not forget it. I'm just seeing some of these screens. Trump is moving slightly more ahead. I mean, it's real close. You know, you got 48.1% to 48.9%. So you got 0.8%. But see, that's all it takes. Now this is polling averages, you know. So if you're wondering how they get tenths, because 0.1%, because you know, you either have someone vote for you or not, right? You can't vote the half. But they're averaging, you know, over 3 or 4 days, the most recent 3 or 4 days. Trump seems to be settling up. And Kamala Harris seems to be settling down. You know, her numbers are coming down a little bit, and Trump's numbers are coming up a little bit in this last 13 days. She just doesn't offer anything. You know, I mean, I'm just a third party here. I don't have a dog in the race, so to speak. I don't financially back anybody. I just don't want inflation, and I want the borders closed. If it just seems to me, if you vote for her, you're going to get more of the same. So you got to have 4 more years of the border being open, because they don't understand how to close the door. You know, you don't, when you live in your house, you don't leave the back door open. You lock all your doors. Now you can, you know, it's not hard to get in a place. You know, with a screwdriver, you can get in a door. So when you lock your doors, you're keeping the innocent people out. So they have to knock on the door to come into your place. They knock on the door, and then you go to and you look through the peephole, and you recognize whoever is knocking on your door, and you either open the door and have a conversation with whoever is in front, like the UPS guy or whatever, or some person that you're supposed to have lunch with that day, or whatever. They knock on the door, you open the door, and then when you're done with whatever that encounter was, you close the door. You don't leave the door open. No. Now, there was a time where you didn't have to lock your door all the time because you lived in a quiet neighborhood and, you didn't lock your doors. But you close the doors. And even though the door is not locked, they knock on the door. They don't just walk right in. You walk right in if you own the place. You live in the place. Your kids come in, they go out, and you come in, you come out, but after you pass through the threshold, you close the door. Well, our present government, under President Biden, his idea of closing the door means all these people, and we're talking about 5, 6, 8,000 a day. You multiply that by 360. What do you get? You get 2 million, more than 2 million a year. Well, 2 million times 4 is 8, and that's the people you know about. Then you got to gross that up about 30% because you got all the gotaways, the people that are jumping the fence that aren't reporting to the border guards, where they take down your number and your name and you get put on a list. There's no vetting. They take the name and the number and come on in. Your court date, they give you a court date, like a 2030. You report back to this courthouse at August 10th, 2029. This is give me. So meantime, they take that notification and put it in the circular file. They don't even bother. 5%. I think it was 5% actually show up for their court date. That means 95% does not. So that's their idea of shutting the door. They take down your name and number. So the door is open, and they take down your name and number, and then they just let you go. And then you wander all over, these border towns. And then you can show up to a bus station, and you get a free ride to any city you want to go to. Once you get up in that city, if you want to move to a different place, you use our entire air system. They have no ID. No one knows who they really are. So they're all over. You can fly anywhere you want, no ID. You don't feel well, you go into the hospital. They don't give you a bill. Nope. They send the bill in through, the State Department or wherever, and they pay the bill. But the hospital, they don't actually get any money from the sick illegal alien. They just get treated and they're released back into society. The U.S. government pays the bill for the health care. So you got 10, 15, you hear these politicians talk. It's somewhere between, 15 and 20 million. You pick the number. Because they've been doing this incorrectly for 4 years. Now, under the Trump administration, that ended in 2020. This is 2024, right? We got 4 years. He had, when the border was closed, so that means the doors are closed. And he told Mexico, He said, look, these people are trying to get in our country, and we're not letting them in. We're pushing them back into Mexico from where they came. So you're going to, so you need to get your border guards up on the northern border here of your country, Mexico, and control these people, caravans of people that are trying to get in our country, because we're not letting them in, period. And if there is going to be a court date, it's somewhere in the future. And if they're going to settle in your country and wait for a court date in our country, that's going. It's like 4 or 5 years into the future. It's not. It's not like we'll see in court, on Thursday. A couple of days away from Wednesday. Like tomorrow, you don't get a tomorrow court date. You get a court date that's like 4, 5, 6, 8 years in the future, because they don't have enough judges to hear all these cases. So basically, Trump told Mexico, you got to protect your northern border because we're shutting it down. And he shut it down. Mexico whined and complained, and Trump basically told whoever was in charge of Mexico politically that we're not letting them in, and if you don't control it from your side of the border, we're going to put a big tariff on all the cars that you send into the country. We're going to put a 25% tariff on there, right? And then if you don't pay attention, we're going to increase it to 50%. And if you still don't pay attention, we're going to increase it to 100%. So if you're manufacturing cars in Mexico and you think you're just going to send them into the United States, for sale, we're putting 100% tariff on all those products. I think we can control the border, because he didn't want 100% tariff on all the, because, a bunch of people built car factories in Mexico, and you got all these Mexican employees that are learning how to make a car, a little piece at a time, so that's what it means to close the border. And he told, the president of Mexico, or whatever they call him, so you, Mexico, need to control your southern border, because they're coming in there, and then they're, traveling the 1,100 miles up to the coast of, the border with Texas, or the border with, Arizona, or California, or Florida, where they float across on pieces of plywood, or boats, or both. So he signed executive orders and he shut it down. And Mexico controlled their country, and we controlled our borders. And if we need more agents, we're going to hire them. And while the hiring process is going on, we're going to bring down the National Guard. We're going to activate the National Guards in all the border states, and we're going to produce another 20,000 agents, and they're going to be armed, and they're going to help protect our borders. Because people there ain't going to be any gotaways. We'll have enough people stretched out, across our, 1,200 miles of border, with Mexico, I think. So it's a lot of miles. I'll just throw out 1,000 miles. I actually don't know what the mileage is, but it's it's not 2 miles. It's hundreds of miles. And according to what Trump just announced, all the border guards are going to get a raise, because they have not had a raise in the 3 or 4 years that they've been managing these people. They treat them like crap, and they should be treated with respect because they're trained. They're law enforcement people that deal with the borders. And I forget who they work for or through. I guess it's through the Department of Justice. But they're being managed by a very liberal administration, and liberal means you don't lock them up, even if they came out of a Mexican jail for murder, convicted. They're convicted murderers, one or more people. And Mexico just opened up the jails and let them run, and they came running. They crossed our border, and now we got them running around in the country. Well, Trump's going to round them up and send them home. And local law enforcement knows where these people are. So he's not going to create a separate army or something or other. He's going to be working with, the federal government is going to be working along with the local government that has jurisdiction over, this 20 miles of border with Mexico, whatever. And he's going to round up these people, and he's going to have a bunch of planes, and it's going to be a massive effort in purging our country of these illegal aliens. You can't even call them illegal aliens, with this administration, because it might hurt their feelings. Are you kidding? You're going to hurt the feelings of these illegals, and you can't call them illegal aliens. You call them, I don't know what the hell you call them. You just call them aliens. Call them. I tell you, they make it so, when you're woke, W-O, when you're woke, the woke mentality is, they have more rights than our citizens. They're like super citizens. They're filling up our classrooms, and remember, they're coming from 181 different countries, and they don't all speak English. They speak, God knows what the hell they're speaking. When they're in a school setting and they're sitting in the front of our classes, and they're actually squeezing out U.S. citizens, because some of these towns have been infiltrated with these illegals, and they have kids, or they're going to have kids, and they end up going to our schools not trained in English, and not trained in anything, and it's a hell of a strain on our education system. Well, we kind of have to, Trump's going to have to do more than one thing at a time, because this you got to shut the border. The first thing you got to do is, when you wake up in the morning on January 20th, is you got to have these executive orders all ready to sign. Like there are 90 of them, different topics and so forth. When they shut down the border, you got to shut it down. You have access points where they can come through, limited, based on, their nationality and creed, and they have passed, so some of them are properly documented. They're just not, they haven't gone through the normal system where you have your passport stamped with a visa, and the visa stipulates when you're going back, so they stamp your, inside your passport, and, you have to, you're supposed to check back in. They don't check, we check, rice check, corn check, There's no check. Now, if the system was open on our side, where they could come in, you present your passport, meaning that's where you're going to go back, and that's how we take care of that business. So they used one of the photographs I have in my pocket now. Okay, sports fans. I think we're done. Getting all bogged down with this deportation, mass deportations. Yeah, I mean, whoever gets elected, it's going to be a mess. One of the candidates is going to do something about it. The other candidate is not going to do anything about it. It seems to me that Kamala is part of the problem. She is not part of the solution. I had friends of mine in Miami, and I'm crowding 80. I'm not 80, but I'm crowding it. Oh, getting real close. Anyway, so 80 is a lot of years. So 0 to 20, you're just a kid. But after 20, 20 to 70, let's just do that. That's 50 years. 20 to 70. I'm in my 70s. So I'm going to round down. So from 20 to 70, you subtract 20 from 70, you get 50. That's 50 years. Well, you divide that by, 4, and you can see how many elections you've been in. Is that 12? There's 12 presidential elections? If you do, where's my calculator? There it is. Let's just clear it. We'll put in 50 and we'll divide it by 4. 12 and a half election cycles. So if it's 52, that's probably, so let's say 52 years divided by 12. No. We're going to divide by 4. Because we elect somebody every 4 years. There we go, 13 elections. So we'll just say, if you've been around for 52 years worth of elections, you've elected or re-elected 13 presidents to either 4-year terms or 8. They were president and then they got re-elected, so they're president for 4 more years. Presidents are elected every 4 years. You can't be elected more than twice. That was an amendment that went through after Roosevelt because they kept on re-electing him. And they decided after he finally passed away that we don't want to have anyone in office more than 8 years. Anyway, so presidents have 4-year terms. Congressmen have 2-year terms, and senators have 6-year terms. So you got 2, 4, 6. So you got 2-year terms for the congressmen, and you got 6-year terms for senators. Each state has 2 senators, and the number of congressmen is determined by the population of your state. So you basically, that's what the U.S. Census is all about. They have 435 congressmen. Okay, so if your country was 435 million, I'm just making this up because we don't have 430 million people, but if we did, I'm just trying to keep the math simple, and we divide that by 435, that equals 988,000. So that means each congressman, has a district of 988,000. So then they draw lines and so forth. So let's say Florida has 20 million people. All right, so we're going to 988. So we're going to remember that. All right. So we got 20 million in the state of Florida. There's 20 million. Now we're going to divide that by 988,000. Get the right number of zeros in there. Equals 20. So in that fictitious example, the state of Florida would get 20 House of Representative people. So then they draw lines, political boundaries, to divide up the state of Florida into 20 jurisdictions. And each congressman, you're going to have 20 congressmen in Florida, each one is assigned a district. Yeah. So let's say that's done. So now the next year, they're 20. So they still use that 20 million figure. Every 10 years, 2, 4, 6, 8, now you got 10. It's all in the Constitution, by the way. I keep it in my back pocket. It's a little booklet. It's, like 20 or 30 pages. It's, they hand wrote all this stuff out. They didn't have typewriters back then. They had pen and ink, and they hand wrote it all. Now my booklet is typed. They've transcribed the handwritten document into a little booklet. I have several up in my office here, and I have several in the living room. And if a guest comes over, and we're talking about constitutional things, I hand them a copy. I hand them out free. I pay for them. Big deal, right? It costs me $4 or $5. So I give anybody that comes and visits us, and we're talking about anything that has to do with politics. Not necessarily be, this one or that one, but just the topic. You're allowed to talk about things. And if we get into talking about constitutional things, I happen to have a copy of the U.S. Constitution. It's survived here for 250 years or so. And every, as Reagan said, every 20 years, in 20 years you can wipe out a democracy. You sure can. If people start to cheat. If politicians start to cheat. And they make the elections so that the opposition can't win. And you can make that happen. The top issues. There's the. Oh, look at that. There we go. This is the Fox News poll. And this one was put together on October 15th because it's looking back. Registered voters. The margin of error is 3%. It's 11 a.m. It's time for me to shut up. The top issue is motivating people to vote for Harris. Why? This is the top motivating issues for why people vote for Kamala Harris. 17% of the people that are voting for her don't like Trump. I don't know whether I like him or not. I don't want to invite these people over for dinner. They're you don't have to like them. You just, you're basically deciding who's gonna run the economy, who's gonna run the military. The U.S. president is a very unique person because they not only run the politics of all these things we're talking about, but they're also the commander-in-chief. They're all, of the armed services. It's a civilian person elected to the one spot, and that senior person has the highest clearance. They have top secret, compartmentalized. They have like all these different levels of how secret things are, depending on how high you are up in the political, chain of command, so to speak. My daughter Robin worked in the U.S. government. She's getting back in, I think. She's being wooed by people in the Pentagon, I'm told. So she may be in the Pentagon, next year, 2025. She's got 2 years of law school under her belt. She needs 2 more years, and then she's gonna start making serious money. If you're a Washington attorney, you're gonna make serious money. And she has a Rolodex that'll choke a horse. She worked in Congress. She worked in Clay Shaw's office, as an employee for the U.S. government. And from there she worked in several other departments. Clay Shaw passed away, but when you work, if you're any kind of a nice person, you're going to get to know a lot of people, and they're going to remember who you are, and that you're going to give them your card, and they're going to have your cell phone number, and you're going to talk to each other, text, call, whatever, email. And Robin knows a lot of people in Washington. She's got a very deep, she's not a senator, she's not a House of Representative, she's not an elected person. She's like a permanent staff person, and she's a technology person. She's got a graduate degree. I have a copy of it in my little file system over here. I can put everything in a big plastic bag. So you got all these 9 by 12 plastic bags with papers in them. Instead of file folders, they're in bags, so the papers can't slip out of a folder. Yeah, it's everyone has their own little way of doing things. Anyway, so she's into the cybersecurity business, which is huge. You got people hacking and stealing information all over the place. So she's, got a 2-year degree in cybersecurity law. And I'm encouraging her to get the next 2 years going so she can, finish up her law degree, take the, pass the Washington bar, or whatever jurisdiction it is, and the Virginia bar, and the she's living in, I guess, Maryland, so she wants to be in that bar. She probably want to take the Florida bar. You take all these bar exams so that you can practice, so you can, do your lawyering in a number of states. A lot of these lawyers, they're in 3 or 4 different bar settings. Now, you have these big law firms, so you don't have to necessarily be in all these other, you don't have to, be registered in these other states, like, taking the bar exams, because, you have a branch office, and if you're dealing in Florida, you let your law firm deal with, going across state lines when you're dealing in another state. It's very complicated. Anyway, so she's halfway done with her law school business. She just needs to get the other half done. Wow, look at all these. There we go. We got all these photos. Yeah, these photos. Of course, we're going to be done for today in a couple of minutes. I just wanted to show you that we're reloading See my packages. So this package is supposed to be delivered today between 12 and 3. There's another one, 12 to 3. I got one tomorrow, somewhere between 1 and 5. And on the 25th, whatever day that is, 3, 4, 5. What's it? So this is Friday. On the Friday the 25th, I'm getting another package somewhere between 11 and 1. Yes, so I got a lot of stuff coming in from UPS. And I have to send out these watches to make me an offer because they made me an offer on both these watches, old watches. I'm getting a new watch, I think today. Oh, this is the one I'm wearing goes. And this other big one. I don't think this other little one. I think it's too old. It's like a Series 3. Yeah, they give you $50 for it. I don't think it was even on the list of things. So you get $200 for that, and you get $400 for this. That's $600. The new watch is like $750. So, it cost me $150 of cold hard cash to get the Series 10, and then I turned in these two to make me an offer. They made me an offer. $400 for one and $300 for the other one. So it's about $700 for, so it's almost an even trade. I don't know why I didn't get rid of these. Like last year, they would have been worth more money last year than this year. But anyway, so I'm doing it now. I just sold them a computer, and they should be funding me. I may have already gotten it. $1,257. They said they've got the computer. It's exactly as I described it, and they're wiring the money. They send it by Zelle. Bam! You give them. So I give them my phone number, and they got my name, and pew, they just goes right in my checkbook through the Zelle system, which is magical. Between our two younger kids that are here, and Marilyn and myself, we Zelle money all around the place between different banks. So our Social Security checks go in through Truist, which used to be SunTrust, and so as soon as that hits my account at Truist, on the second Wednesday of every month and the third Wednesday of every month, I Zelle that money right into TD Bank, because TD Bank is the bank I use to pay the bills. Marilyn says you're in charge of that, so I'm in charge of that marvelous task. History, pay the electric bill, pay the car bill, the power bill. That I got a 1,550 square foot apartment. We run it. It's at 69.1 degrees in here. You see right there, 69.1. Woo! So you don't come in the studio wearing a t-shirt. You freeze your butt off. So it's 69 in here, and it's probably 7 degrees out in the living room. I have these doors not completely shut because I can't shut any doors around here because these cats. We got a cat. He marches around, and he likes to be wherever he wants to be. So you can't have the doors shut because he gets pissy. And then he starts scratching the doors. Until you let him in. So you got to leave all the doors, marginally open. You can't shut them all the way. Except when the cleaning ladies come. Then Then Kino comes in here and he hides right on top of all my computer stuff. So I got to shut him down, and he sits there on my desk in the middle of the studio until the cleaning ladies are gone. So every other Wednesday, they come every 2 weeks. Not twice a month, every 2 weeks. So that's 26 times a year. Not 24 times a year, it's 26 times a year. That's what happens with every other week. So, of course, remember, there are 13 weeks in a quarter. Not 12 weeks, there's 13 weeks in a quarter. And every other week, they come. Like clockwork. And sometimes there are 2 of them, and sometimes there's 3 of them. And they come in here and they got the vacuums going. The cats are running. Kino and Kenya. We got two cats. We had 3. She died off. Yeah, a couple of years ago, or a year ago. Whew. So now we got 2 of them. They're 12-year-old cats. And they're moving around pretty good. They don't seem to have any age problem. Yeah. Let's see what's going on here with 9 to 5 Mac. There it is, 9 to 5 Mac. Apple and Goldman Sachs are fined over $89 million for Apple Card problems, whatever that is. Here's a lock. Carriers don't want to unlock your iPhone. And they say it's for your own good. Well, the carriers can't unlock, our iPhones. No, sirree, Bob. No, they can't do it, even if they wanted to. There's no backdoor key. No, I don't know what the situation is with Android devices, but I can tell you, I know it from FBI testimony that we've heard in Congress. When they seize an iPhone from a bad guy, and if you miss the password 10 times, the entire phone erases itself. And everybody that has an iPhone, every bad guy that has an iPhone, he has a password. And if you don't know what the password is, now you can stick a gun up somebody's nose and get the password maybe, or beat them up, which isn't, it's not exactly legal in the United States. We can't do that, We think we can do it, but we really can't do that. So, yeah, that's, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but when they say illegal is a sick bird. Yeah, and the U.S. military, they do whatever the hell they want to do. They're not supposed to, but carriers they can't unlock your phone. The carrier never asks for your password. I can't imagine giving them my password. My password is it's 10 characters. Yeah. And that includes, at signs, pound signs, dollar signs, percent signs, ampersands, the star, brackets, exclamation points, capital letters, small letters, numbers. With 10, I'm told, if you have 10 characters, if you try all the possible combinations with a 10-character password, it takes 34 years for the computer to run through all those combinations. Phew. Because you got the whole entire alphabet. Well, you just look at the whole keyboard. And you have upper and lower case, so that's like 2 for each letter. And you multiply it out, it's a lot of, so you have all those characters, 10 at a time. It's a computer running really fast takes 34 years to click through all the combinations to unlock your phone. But you see, you can't, you only get 10 tries. So you have to figure out how to get in that part of that chip. It's all secured. So apparently there's a firm in Israel that knows that can hack a phone, that can actually open up a phone without the owner of the phone giving you his password. They have a device that works through a computer system, through I think a Windows computer actually, and for X number of hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can buy the system, and then you can hack the phones. So they figured out how to get in there and get the password. Yep. The what do you call it? The FBI. Yeah, the FBI has been in contact with this Israeli firm, and they paid $1 million to have this bad guy's phone hacked, so he could get all the numbers, and so the U.S. government could get the numbers, the military, whoever, and figure out who he's communicating with in his chain of command, since he's a big guy. Well, they paid $1 million, and the phone was hacked, and there's no backdoor key. I can assure you. Well, all I know is the testimony that I hear, and Tim Cook, who's the current CEO of Apple that makes these phones, he and the board decided 4 or 5 years ago. They actually had a board meeting on this topic because the FBI kept coming after Apple. Unlock the phone for us. Unlock the phone for us. This phone, that phone. They had like 179 different bad guys with iPhones that they've confiscated, and they want to get in there and find out who they're talking to. And Apple can't do it. Yeah. Tim Cook and the board agreed in a board meeting. We will not have, a master key, so to speak, to unlock iPhones. The software, the operating system, will not have a backdoor. Will not have, a pass key. A secret backdoor key so you can get in to anybody's phone, because if they had such a key, it would eventually be leaked somehow, and then everyone would have the key, and then everyone could get into everyone else's phone, so to speak. So what the hell good is that? So then people wouldn't keep sensitive information on their phone, I guess. But anyway, this Israeli firm can hack a phone. But Apple, there is no backdoor key in the operating system to unlock an iPhone. And they made it a board decision, and they passed that down to all the authors, the people that are the Apple developers, these software engineers and hardware engineers and product engineers, whatever. I mean, Apple's got a couple 100,000 employees all over the world. Actually, the stock has really rocketed from 140 to like 240. It's gone up $100 a share. It's unbelievable in a relatively short time. People are, investing in Apple because they're burying their money because they're afraid of the stock market, taking a crap and going down because it's wobbling up at the top, and any global disturbance in the stock market is going to tumble 20 or 30%, and that's a lot of that's trillions of dollars in market value. Now it's hanging up there, it's like in record it's when it's record high, that's when Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall, when it gets real high. I've been on the ladder. I mean, you get up on the ladder with the wind, it sways. A lot of sway when the ladder gets up there. Oh boy, sorry, Bob. All right, well, it's 11:30. It's time to wrap it up and go to your lunch meetings or whatever. I got things to do. I got all kinds of shipments coming and going, and oh my god. So I gotta get rid of my trash and get rid of this and that. Make room for some of this new stuff that's coming in here. Yeah. So you sell stuff. I got a couple of cameras I'm probably going to sell. I don't know, like they're really, the iPhone, the cameras on the iPhones are so spectacular. I have all this really good stuff in cases that I barely ever use now because I have a frame here behind me. I shouldn't talk about it now because I've been on the thing here for 2 hours. You see this frame? It's got a handle on each side. It's made by Newer. I put my iPhone right in here with this clip, and then you hold, you're holding instead of manipulating with the iPhone. You got handles on each side, and you just stick your thumb in here to activate the shutter button. All right, I'll put that back up there. Anyway, so that bracket makes it so makes it really convenient for taking pictures. I mean, I don't know how they do it. I know how they do it, but it's unbelievable that they do it with this micro technology where you can have a 10x zoom lens on a 50 million pixel camera, image target, I take pictures of the moon, and see the craters, and you're taking it with an iPhone. Really? Are you kidding me? I've done it. It's not because I'm some kind of a picture wizard. Granted, I've taken a lot of pictures, like a million, and I've been hired, by universities to take pictures, several of them, Oof. And I have the best, digital mirrorless camera lenses and cameras, 50 million pixel. No, it's at 45 million, but close enough. The iPhone is right there taking pictures as good as a digital SLR camera can take, and the iPhone takes. You couldn't tell the difference. You take a picture with the iPhone, you take a picture with my Canon camera, and you match up the images, and chances are the iPhone images look better because the software that deals with the image taking, and the dynamic range, and the detail and the focus, and the way you can manipulate the image with Photoshop or the operating system itself that Apple provides for you, with their When you get a device, you get all these apps that are capable of, that they just include in the package when you get the phone. It's unbelievable. So anyway, it makes a digital. Oh, look at all these polls. Let's see if there's anything. Scott. Oh, the Senate race. Scott appears to be winning the polling business. Job approval rating is terrible. Yeah. So anyway, there's nothing new here I'm looking at the real clear politics. Doesn't seem to be any generic congressional vote is now a tie. It was Democratic by 2 or 3 points. Now it's even. That's not good for Kamala. And that needs to be 4 or 5 points in her favor. And it's not. Anytime you're near a tie nationally, that's terrible for the Democrats. Because they're usually up plus 6 or 7. National, Trump versus Harris Rasmussen poll. It's the best poll out there. Oh, boy. Yes, it has Trump up 1. I'm pushing the wrong thing here. Touch screen. Oh boy, let's touch that. Oh, that's real clear politics. I'm not getting the actual Rasmussen. Let's see if I can touch that a little bit better. There we go. Now we're in Rasmussen. Oh, it shows. You got to pay. I've actually paid for, the special information. So what they do is they write a 2 or 3 page story, but they don't let you see everything unless you pay, $20 or $30 a month. I think I signed up for like 2 months of it because after November, I don't want to see it anymore, and I don't want to pay. It's pretty simple, right? All right, Rasmussen National Telephone Online Survey finds that if the election were held today, 48% of likely U.S. voters would vote for Trump, and 47% would vote for Harris. And 2%, they don't know what they would do. And that usually means they stay home. Because if you haven't got this figured out by now, you're politically disinterested. So in this survey, Trump is up 1. Now, the margin of error is probably 2%, 2 or 3, depending on how many phone calls they made. Oh, they made 3,500 phone calls. So the MOE is probably 1%. Yeah, there it is. You just see, it's just fading out here. The survey of 3,569 U.S. likely voters was conducted October 16, 17, and 20 through 21. So that's through 2 days ago. The margin of the sampling is a 1% error. So so Trump's up 1, and it's a 1% margin of error. So it's that would be called a statistical tie, even though the media would report it that Trump's up 1, which is like a pea on a pumpkin. That means it's a toss-up. It's a matter of who votes and who doesn't vote. Politically, there's a difference, but the bottom line is, when you have the statistical tie business coming up all the time, It usually means that it's a matter of who actually sits on the couch and says the hell with it, and who votes. Now, I'm not a political, I'm not a statistician. When I took statistics in college, I had to take some statistics, a couple of classes. I hated it because it was boring. It was the worst math class I've ever had. Statistics. You'd think it'd be very interesting. It's not. When the academics get a hold of it, they ruin it. It is a very interesting topic, but they, for some reason or other, maybe it was just the professors that were in it, or but I disliked the class. It had a little textbook. It was about this big and a half-inch thick, and so it wasn't too much. I memorized everything. The hell. Biology, memorize all the bones and all the muscles. Just memorize it. Forget about trying to make sense of it. Just memorize everything. Memorize all the names. I had to pronounce all the names of these drugs, or else I couldn't remember how to spell them. Anyway, so you just have to have a good memory, And some people can remember things, and some people can't. I'm one of those people that can, if I choose to. Now, I don't remember everything I look at, but when I decide to remember something, I remember it. Yes, sir, Bob. Now, that's going back 50 years in classwork. I haven't been in school. But, I've been teaching at FAU for 20 years. It's not, in the last 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years, there's not much of a change in our academic system. You got 40 seats in a class, or you got 400 seats in kind of an auditorium, real steep auditorium, and you got the professor down there with the chalkboards, and he talks, to 200, 100, 200, 300 people, students at a time, and some of the students pay attention and most don't. So the professor just, I've been one, he just puts on his speech for the day and goes through everything that he does for the day, and some students are very interested in what you do, and most of the students are disinterested, and you wonder why the hell they're there. They pay $400 to do my class and they don't give a crap. I mean, that's kind of weird. Anyway, statistics I didn't like. My digital photography classes, that's a fast name for Principles of Digital Photography and Post-Image Processing. Anyway, so my digital photography classes are very interesting. I wrote a book, on how to do it, a laboratory manual. It got published by Pearson Education, one of the largest, most prestigious publishers in the country. Thank you very much, John Harlan. He introduced me to them, and they published the book, and they did a second edition of the book in 2007 and 2003, separated by about 4 years. I updated everything, and they did a second edition. And in the cover, I put in there FAU, I did all the things that Harlan told me to do. Because I've never written a book before, so he introduced me to the educational, what do you call it? The acquisitions editor. How about that? The acquisitions editor. That's the person that decides if whatever you wrote, they're going to publish. And I actually did a prototype of the book. I went to Kinko's, and I put it on glossy, heavy paper, 100-pound paper instead of 30-pound paper. Because it's a lab manual, spiral bound, you know, not glued and sewn, spiral, so you can lay it flat on the desk. So you don't have to like push it down. It just pops open. Yeah, spiral bound. So, Mr. Wilson, where is your transcript? I pull it out of my briefcase and I hand it to her. She says, "What's this?" I said, "This is my book. Dr. Harlan, here's my book." So I made 5 of them, one for each of them, one each, and then I had one. So I brought 3 of them with me in my secret briefcase. She looks at it and she says, "My God, this is the first time anyone has given me a prototype of the book." And I've been doing this for a while. This is a Pearson Education. It's the largest educational publisher. She said, "This is totally amazing. Let me look this up for a minute. Just give me a couple minutes." So she carried in this big 3-ring binder that was like 4 inches thick. It was the biggest 3-ring binder I've ever seen. It was like that thick. And she's looking through this tab, and then she tabbed it across, referenced it this way and that way. She said, "Mr. Wilson, your book is unique." I said, "Well, thank you." She said, "No, it's." She said, "It is. We don't have any of all the things that we published. There's nothing like this in our entire listings of things that we publish. So it is unique. We'll buy it." And that's what it is. She says, "We'll buy it." I said, "Well, how much are you going to pay for it?" She says, "Well, the first run we're going to give you $40,000. And I said, "So the royalty is going to be 15%, is that correct?" She said, "Okay." She writes it down. Harlan told me that's the biggest number they give is 15%. Forget about the 10% and 7, 8, 9%. Go for 15. They'll give it to you. You just have to tell them. You just say it like this, and that'll be a 15% royalty, correct? You lead the witness. That's exactly, I said it exactly that way. She said, "Yes, sir, we will pay you 15% royalty." And that means they put it in a bookstore or wherever, and whoever buys it, I get 15% of the sale price. And they send me a check every quarter. Which they did. Yeah. So anyway, that's the book publishing business. The acquisitions editor, that's who you want to get to if you have a book that you want to write. Now here, I wrote it first and then got the acquisitions editor. A lot of these books get, signed up for before you write the book. So they don't really have anything but the title and the table of contents of what you're going to write. And then it's a little, But I actually wrote the whole book first. It took me, I kept track of it. It took me 700 hours of work. Because I did all the graphics myself. I did everything myself. I didn't have any help. I don't have staff, Just wrote this myself. I didn't dictate anything. Because it's all, it's a laboratory manual. It's it's kind of like a high technology thing for image editing. Principles of digital photography and post-image processing. The first couple of chapters was all technology topics about pixels and, how the image gets, put into the pixel and how the image then moves into a processor in the camera. So Harlan told me that. He says, "You got to give me some science. You got to write some science in here." And then you got your 24 lessons. It's perfect. I already wrote the 24 lessons. I wrote everything, by the time I met with the acquisitions editor and went to Kinko's, it took me a couple of weeks to get this put together exactly the way I wanted it. And they printed it on there. They have, very good printers. And they have marvelous paper. You can touch and feel the paper before it actually gets done. And then they have the big machines that can punch, the 19 holes all the way up the paper, and then they roll in the, the spiral binding. And that's my story. So it was spiral bound. It's just exactly the way I wanted it. I designed it. And I did the cover, did the back cover, the inside, front cover, inside, back cover. I did all the cover work. She said, we can do, our people will do the cover and the back. I said, well, here, I've already done the cover. It's going to look like that. It's actually lesson number 23. We actually make the cover of this book in the class. Yeah, because it's digital imaging. And we use digital imaging to make these covers. So lesson 23 is the front cover of this book. And lesson 24 is the back cover of this book. How cool is that? She said, that is really quite amazing. I said, yes, sir. Yeah. I said, I'm pretty serious about what I do here. Yeah, I thought that was pretty unique. Anyway, so that's how I wrote the book. Okay, it's time to go. I'll keep talking. It'll be tomorrow. I'm 2 hours and a half now. Oh, jeez. I'm overtime, so I'm sorry. So you guys, I'm going to shut this down, and I'm going to get this thing out of here, and I'm going to click the tab that says good night, and I hope you all have a great day. And it's 11:43 a.m. So it's not lunchtime yet, but it's close. So now you got 15 minutes to go to your lunch appointment. And I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same channel, 9:15 sharp. I'll be starting tomorrow, every day, 9:15. Moving around with different times and so forth. 9:15 is going to be the time. Yeah. So I'm going to turn up the music. I'm going to turn down the microphone. And I'll see you tomorrow, okay? 9:15. Bye-bye.